Yeom Hye-ran, an irreplaceable actor recognized by the public. When discussing the best acting talents in South Korea's pop culture scene today, Yeom Hye-ran is undoubtedly a name that consistently ranks at the very top. Her natural acting ability, which makes it seem as though she completely becomes the character, rather than being confined to a specific genre or mold, has instilled deep trust in the public. Whenever audiences see her actively moving back and forth between television and the silver screen, they naturally harbor a sense of anticipation for a project based on her name alone. Having built an unrivaled position in the Korean entertainment industry through her solid acting skills, her career moves always garner significant attention. 2. A striking first encounter, the unforgettable villain in Goblin. The decisive moment that strongly etched her face and name into the public's mind was undoubtedly the hit drama Goblin. Taking on the role of the aunt who mercilessly torments the protagonist, she perfectly executed a despicable and wicked villain that felt like someone who could actually exist in reality. Usually when an actor leaves a strong impression in a specific work, it takes subsequent projects to determine whether it was purely due to the actor's skill or the power of the character's setting. However, despite having a relatively small amount of screen time in Goblin, Yeom Hye-ran demonstrated an overwhelming screen presence, clearly proving to the public the pure power of acting that consumes a character. 3. A solid and meaningful filmography built. Step by step. Following the strong impression she made in Goblin, she did not rush but instead patiently built her own solid filmography step by step. Appearing in various dramas and movies, she continually transformed, sometimes as a warm-hearted neighbor, other times as a cold, calculating expert. No matter what role she was given, she breathed life into the characters and heightened the immersion of the work, naturally leading the public to look forward to her next transformation. Although she had not yet taken on a solo title role that carried an entire production up to this point, she always made her parts as a significant supporting actor, the most meaningful and shining moments of the narrative. 4. The long-awaited first solo lead role, Mad Dance Office. Having boasted an irreplaceable presence in so many works and solidly supporting the backbone of those stories, she has finally stepped onto the screen as a full-fledged solo lead through the movie Mad Dance Office. The mere fact that she, who always shined amidst numerous supporting roles and ensemble casts, has stepped up as the main narrator carrying the film from start to finish with her own name tag, generated massive buzz. It was only natural that movie fans' attention was drawn to how the profound expertise she has cultivated over a long period would unfold on the grand canvas of a solo lead role. 5. The weight of ticket power a lead actor must endure at the box office. However, unlike television dramas that viewers can watch for free at home, taking on a solo lead role in a cinematic medium where audiences must spend their own time and money to visit a theater carries a completely different weight. This is because the lead actor must instill confidence in the public. I am willing to pay my own money to see that actor's performance in a theater. Currently, there are not many actors in the Korean film industry who possess the ticket power to plan a commercial film as a solo lead and mobilize audiences, and the barrier is even higher and rarer for female actors. This is a cold commercial reality that cannot be easily overcome simply by being good at acting. 6. An unexpected calmness for audiences expecting a comedy. Because it is a project she took on as a solo lead in such a harsh reality, Mad Dance Office acts as a massive testing ground to prove Yeom Hye-ran's commercial impact. When people first heard about the production of this movie, saw the trailer, and recalled the brilliantly comedic characters she had played in the past, many audiences assumed this would be a full-blown comedy that delivers constant laughs. The trailer also prominently featured situations with a comedic vibe. However, upon opening the lid, the actual film deviated somewhat from genre expectations, stopping short of delivering explosive laughter and instead offering only mild, subtle humor that merely brings a small smile to the lips. 7. A puzzling ending structure that undermines a decent build-up. Evaluating the narrative completeness of the film carefully, it ultimately leaves a strong sense of regret. The process of building up the characters' conflicts and situations up to the middle of the movie was reasonably interesting and not bad at all. However, the forced process of trying to resolve all the tangled problems at once toward the end felt rather puzzling. Looking at it objectively, it gives the impression that the conflicts were forcibly patched up, even though it seems no fundamental problems were actually solved. The shallow resolution approach, akin to saying, As long as the protagonist's personal situation works out, it's a happy ending, served as a major factor that hindered immersion in the story. 8. The performance and somewhat excessive passion of co-star Choi Sung-yoon. It is also necessary to point out the performance of actress Choi Sung-yoon, another main character driving the play. Choi Sung-yoon is a talented individual recognized by both critics and the public as having standout acting skills even among her peers. In Mad Dance Office, it was evident that she was doing her absolute best to inject vitality into the film. However, in certain scenes where emotions run high or situations escalate, her acting felt slightly contrived, as if it were bouncing out a bit too excessively compared to the character's inherent colors. While there is no doubt she is a good actress, the subtle control of her acting tone in this particular work felt somewhat regrettable. 9. An ordinary character utilization that failed to show 100% of Yeom Hye-ran's true value. Honestly, one cannot erase the impression that the highly anticipated acting of Yeom Hye-ran also remained at a rather safe and ordinary level in this film. The explosive energy that seemed ready to tear through the screen, or the delicately trembling layers of emotion she had shown in her previous works, were hard to fully find here. Rather than a lack of capability on the actor's part, this feels more like the flat setting of the protagonist character and the loose directing style trapped a brilliant actor like Yeom. Hye-ran within a certain mold, failing to draw out 100% of her true value. 10. The narrative of a rigid civil service organization and a crossed mother-daughter relationship. The skeletal narrative of the film consists of a tough survival story within the rigid organization of a district office, and the crossed relationship of a mother raising her daughter alone. The protagonist, who has lived tenaciously while taking sole responsibility for her daughter, finally gets her abilities recognized within the district office. However, an ironic situation unfolds where she fails to receive proper love and understanding from her own biological daughter, and instead ends up sharing that deprived affection and bond with a subordinate at work. Combined with internal corruption scandals within the district office, the movie takes the form of a typical office drama, where personal lives and organizational absurdities interlock. 11. An excessively long flamenco sequence and a respectable opening score. The final 20 minutes or so, which decorate the finale of the film, are entirely dedicated to the flamenco dance sequence, the most important symbolic material of the movie. While the blood, sweat, and tears of the actors showing how agonizingly they practiced for this scene are fully conveyed through the screen, it raises a strong question of whether it was really necessary to invest such a long time in a flamenco performance, thereby stalling the flow of the narrative. Despite the film being a mix of several regrettable points, such as the verbose latter half directing and narrative flaws, it is encouraging that the number of audiences who visited the theater on its opening day was quite respectable. This shows that while the limitations of the movie itself are clear, the public expectation carried by the name actor Yeom Hye-ran is still functioning positively.